terrible precedent for the Supreme Court to set, to tell Americans that they give up a fundamental freedom just because they decide to open a family business and pursue the American dream.
This is not anything but an incidental infringement on a claim of religious liberty. If every company in this country has the right to exempt itself from any law it doesn't like, you no longer have a society, you kind of have anarchy.
And Charles, today my inbox, as probably for you all too, flooded with reaction from both sides of the aisle, from organizations all over the place, from pro-life, from pro-choice groups. And there's this constant conversation about blocking women from access to health care. But the truth is, this is about who's going to pay for it. No one's saying you can't get contraception.
Right. No one is going to put a gendarme at a pharmacy and prevent women from purchasing contraceptives. So I think that's clearly a misrepresentation, a deliberate one that the left presents as a way to scare people about this. Look, I think in this case you have, I would say, the contaminating issue of the nature of the corporation. There are other cases coming along which don't involve corporations, which involve Catholic hospitals, Catholic schools, Catholic charities, and other religious charities, where the corporate issue isn't there, but it's about the nature of religion. And it seems to me that it is a belief of secular Americans, in particular of those who craft a law like this, that religion is what happens on Sunday, and the rest of your life is non-religious outside of the church. And the people who really are religious understand that that's a complete misunderstanding of what religion is. If you're involved in a Catholic soup kitchen, you're living out your faith every day of the week in your work. And thus, if you are forced to offer contraceptive to people who work in the kitchen, you've been made to violate a principle that you believe is completely immoral. Now, we can argue over whether it ought to be or not, but it is clearly a tenet of the Catholic Church. And I think that really is the issue. So when those cases, which are percolating up behind this one, the ones of the Catholic religious institutions, I think there's going to be a much stronger impulse on the course of the court to strike down that provision of the law as a violation.
Dr. Kramer, are you saying that you think the court therefore will rule in favor of the Obama administration in this case?
I say that when these cases arise, the ones involving the private corporations, it's probably, in my view, a 50-50 proposition.
Oh, I think you're being kind.
No, because of the employer issue, whether it is an individual, whether it has the
Charles,
rights under the
here's the thing I would say to you. You know, in this Hobby Lobby case, the people involved, Shannon, say it's okay. They're willing to offer contraceptive services. They object to the morning after pill. This seems to me to be willy-nilly. You're opening the door to employers saying, well, you know, we don't like this, but we like that.
For people who believe that's an abortifacient, that it can cause an abortion, and there is science that these folks cite, that's a different thing. They don't want to be funding an abortion,
right, so
and there are guarantees
yes
in the federal law that they won't have to do that.
Right. You're presenting it as a trivial difference.
No, I'm saying that's a substantive policy difference, but they're imposing their perception on their employees.
But they're not telling their employees they can't get those pills. They're just saying we don't want to pay for them.
Well,
that's different.
I think
they're
it's the same
saying
thing,
the law is forcing us to be complicit with what we believe under our religion is a form of murder. And that is different from contraception, which doesn't involve the destruction of a zygote, of an embryo. So if you have contraception that prevents implantation, that would be, under some theologies, acceptable. Here, so it's not as if I'm going to pick and choose, I like this, I don't like this.
It sounds like
No, it is not. It is actually a serious principle, and for people who are serious about religion, this is not a trivial issue at all.
The court has been alternately praised and criticized based on where you're coming from for upholding Obamacare last year. The environment has changed quite a bit. The polling has changed quite a bit, and you have to wonder whether that's going to impact how they feel this time around, although it's a different issue.
Well, and also, if they strike it down, it's not going to undermine the law.
Right.
Had you struck down the individual mandate, Obamacare would have collapsed because it wouldn't have had a financial source of income. Here, I think it would attack it at the edges, but I think in principle it's an extremely important issue.
The rollout of the new healthcare marketplace was rough. And nobody was more frustrated about the problems with our website than I am. And yet here in Southern California and here across this state, there are thousands of people every single day who are getting health care for the first time.
If the website had rolled out badly, but the plan promise had been kept, again, it would have been a containable problem. It's when you get the two of them working together that you have something that really kind of stirs a lot of people and gets to a place in the public consciousness that is hard to erase.
And Charles, that's part of what a president does, though. They go to their base. They have to do these fundraisers and go talk to people who have supported them.
In most administrations, yes, it is part. For Obama, it is the whole. Obama runs the presidency as if his main job, his only job, is rhetorical and political. Shore up the base, make speeches. It's all rhetoric. He's got a crisis of management. He's got a system that doesn't work. It's his signature legislation. It's sort of the heart, the symbol, the embodiment of his idea of a caring, progressive central government. It's a mess. And he's now on the West Coast. If you had, let's take a Romney and the Olympics in Salt Lake. He goes in there, it's a mess. He's a manager, he butts head together. He's up night and day working on getting people organized. Obama says, well, I don't write code. It's not that people want him to write code. They want him to be in Washington, organize his underlings, get a system going in which he can make a promise that Obamacare, that the website will be up on December the 1st, and it'll actually happen. Is there anybody who believes it's going to be up and running on December the 1st? And he's now on these trips. It's amazing to me. He became president on the basis of rhetoric. He's conducted the presidency on rhetoric, and he perpetuates it. There is an element of this that's a bit like running a candy store, and he's never run anything. It's as if he's a bystander who makes speeches. I think it's rather remarkable. Who and where and what is happening here to actually make his idea, this conception he had of Obamacare, of health care that encompasses everybody, to actually make it a reality. Sebelius?
I think that the Republicans obviously don't cooperate. We've got budget talks coming in December. Those are difficult issues, and I think that that will impact the legacy in a longer-lasting manner.
5 million Americans have lost their health care plan, and they are projected to, that number is projected to go to 78 million.
That's the thing. This is bigger. This is bigger than about a website. This is a level of insecurity that's been injected into the citizenry. I mean, people are nervous about their health care, about losing their health care, and as Charles said, it's gone from individual policies being lost to now into people who have small business policies are going to be losing them in the next year. I think this is a serious political problem for the president that's just going to keep rolling out.
One thing I do want to say is that I nominate you as deacon of the Church of No Taxes. All of us are behind.
We're all joining that church.
We're all signing up for membership. That's something the panel can all agree on. Let's end on a note of agreement.
Amen.
All right.
Now we can say that on TV.
Yeah. All right. That's it for the panel and Deacon Williams.
This has been a Sunfish production.